Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel Coding Lifestyle for You. So in this video, we will be starting with the functionality part of Talking Dictionary project. In the previous video, we have completed the GUI part. If you have not watched that video, the link is given in the description. So right now, let's start with the functionality of this search button. So what I want, whenever I write some word inside this entry field and I click on this search button, I want to display its meaning inside this text area, right? So let's start. What we have to do, we have to pass a command inside this search button. So I'm going to make it to a new line so that it is visible to you clearly. So command equals to search. So whenever you will click on the search button, this command will be executed. This command will be called, and this is a function name that we have passed there, and we need to define this function. So I will be defining all my functions at the top, and here I have already provided a comment that this is the GUI part, and here I will simply provide another comment that this is the functionality part that we are going to do here. Functionality part. So here I need to define that search function. So how do you define a function in Python? We use def keyword and then the function name and then parenthesis, after that colon, like this. And whatever code you will write here inside this function, that code will be executed whenever you will click the search button. Okay, so if I show you, let me just print something, my name, so and run this code. So whenever I'll be clicking on this search button, you will be able to see my name getting printed on the console here, right, like this. But we do not need to print. What we have to do, we have to simply display the meaning of whatever word is written here inside this text area. Let's do that. So the word and meanings are inside this file, which is data.json. So this .json is basically a format of storing data, and it stores data in the form of a dictionary data type of Python. So here we have a key, which is a word, and then colon, and then we have a value, which is a meaning. Okay, so we have a word as a key and then the meaning as a value. So what we have to do, we have to load this data inside this program. So how can we load this data? We have to import one module, which is JSON, to import JSON data like this. And after importing this, we can load this data inside this main project, right? So we'll write JSON module dot load method, which helps you to load. And what data we have to load? We have to open that file first. So open, and what is the file name? File name is data.json. So in single or double quotes, you can mention the file name. Okay, and whatever data it will return, whatever data it has, that data will be stored in some variable. I will store that data in some variable data. Okay, so let me just print this variable so that you guys can understand that what this data variable is storing. Run. When I click on the search button, you can see that all the data which was inside this data.json file, now that complete data is inside this data variable. You can see here, right? And this data is basically in the form of dictionary data type, right? So we can access the values with the help of keys. We can access the meaning with the help of word, right? So we got the data. Now how can we get the word? So word will be in this entry field, right? So if I write rain here, so we need to fetch this word from this entry field. So how can we fetch this word from entry field? So we have a method inside the entry class. We can access that method with the help of object name. And what is that object name? The object name is enter word entry. So with the help of this object name, we can access a method which is inside this entry class, and that method name is get. So we will be writing enter word entry object name dot get method. So this will simply fetch everything that you will write in the entry field, right? And I will simply store that in some variable, and the variable name is word, because it's a word, right? So if I print this word variable so that you guys can understand, run, and if I write hello and click on this search button, you can see on the console the hello is getting printed. If I write some other word like word and click on this search button, you can see word is getting printed, right? So whatever you will write on this entry field, that will be printed on the console, right? That word is getting stored inside this word variable. So we do not need to print this. Now what I will do, I will apply a condition. I will simply check if this word is present inside this data or not. Okay, so how will we check this? We'll apply if word in data, like this. Okay, if this word is present in this data, okay, suppose we write some word inside the entry field abandoned industrial site. If this is the word that we type there, so this word exists inside this data.json file, right? So this condition will become true, and whatever code that you will be writing here, that code will be executed. Okay, so what code we are going to write here? We'll simply fetch the meaning of that word. Okay, so if you will type this abandoned industrial site, so I want to fetch this meaning, site that cannot be used for any purpose, being contaminated by pollutants. So we have two meanings here, so I need to get this meaning. So how can I get a meaning of some word? So as I told you, this data.json is basically storing data in the form of a dictionary. So we have a key here, this is a key, and then we have a value here. Okay, so with the help of key we can access the value. Let me show you how can we access the value. We have to write data, and in square brackets we have to pass the key, and the key is nothing but the word, right? And this will simply return us the meaning. I will store that in some variable like meaning variable, and let me just print this so that you guys can understand what it is printing, meaning. Okay, so I will simply use this same word, so I'll simply copy this, Control C, abandoned industrial site. Okay, let me run this code. Abandoned industrial site, I have written that complete word, and I click on the search button. So you can see we are getting a meaning. So this is the meaning that we are getting, right? Now this meaning variable is storing data in the form of a list. So this is nothing but a list in a square bracket, right? If I directly print this, if I directly add this meaning inside our text area, you can see how it will look. So text area, this is the object name of the text class, dot insert. We want to insert the meaning inside the text area, right? So if I simply write at the end, we want to insert the meaning, this meaning variable. Okay, and if I run this, and here I paste that word again, and I click on the search button, you can see that we are getting the meaning here, right? But this is not looking very nice. Okay, what I want the meaning to be displayed without these brackets, right? This is simply displaying us a list. We do not want to display list, we want a meaning to be displayed, only the value part, right? So what we will do, we will use a loop here. So for item in meaning, okay, for item in meaning, what we will do, we will simply insert the item. Okay, we will simply insert the item inside my text area. So let's insert that text area dot insert, and at the end instead of complete meaning variable, because this is storing a list and we can access the value of that list with the help of this for loop. Okay, and I'm simply going to insert the item. An item variable is simply storing the value. If I run this again, here if I type rain and I click on the search button, you can see that we are getting a meaning here. Precipitation in the form of liquid water drops with diameter greater than 0.5 millimeters. So this is the first meaning that we got, and just after this we are getting the second meaning: to fall from the clouds in drops of water. What we want this second meaning to appear on a new line like this. Okay, after two new line characters we want the second meaning to appear. So how can we do that? So this item variable is simply storing the meaning. If I print this meaning variable once more so that you guys can understand properly what is happening here, run, I write rain here and click on the search button, you can see what it is getting printed. So this is the list that is getting printed, right? So this is a list that is getting stored inside this meaning variable, right? If you want to access this value, if you want to access only this value, you will have to use a loop here. Okay, I'm using a loop. So what this item is simply holding, the indexing. So this is at 0 index and this is at 1th index. So for the first time this item will hold 0 as a value. So what value is at 0th index? This one, which is highlighted in blue. And what value is at 1th index? This one. Okay, so there are two meanings of this single word rain that is getting displayed. We want to insert that inside my text area. So this is how you can insert. So first meaning will be inserted, then the loop will run again, another meaning will be stored inside this item variable, and then a new meaning will be inserted inside my text area. Okay, so after the first meaning is inserted, what I also want to insert a new line. So we can insert a new line like this. Two new line characters we can add after first meaning is added inside my text area. Okay, let's run this. So rain, search, you can see that we got the first meaning. Okay, then two new line characters, then again the loop will run and we are getting the second meaning. I hope you guys have understood this. So this way we can fetch the word and its meaning from this data.json file. Okay, so here can be three scenarios. First scenario can be that the word is present inside this data.json file. If the word is present inside this data.json file, then this if condition will be true, right? And this complete code will be executed. What if this if condition becomes false? What if that particular word does not exist inside this data variable? Okay, in that case we will simply move to the else part. Okay, and since I want my dictionary to be a bit intelligent, so I will use a elif condition. Here I will be using a condition here. Let me just run my previous project, original one, right click and run main. You can see if I write a wrong word here like this, rain, but a wrong spelling of rain, and I click on the search button, so we are getting a dialog box, did you mean rain instead? Okay, so our dictionary is a bit intelligent, so I want this functionality in my project. Okay, so if you will type any wrong spelling word, so it will simply try to get the closest match of that word from the data.json file, and it will simply display you this message box. Okay, did you mean rain instead? If you'll click yes, you will get the meaning of the rain, and this double n rain, the spelling got corrected and we are getting a meaning here. One more thing, if you notice, we have not added this bullet symbol inside my project. Okay, so let's add these bullet symbols also. So first, before the first meaning is displayed, I want a bullet symbol to appear, then the first meaning, then two new line characters, then a bullet symbol, then the second meaning. Okay, let's see how we can do that. Coming back to my project, here if you see, we are inserting the first meaning. So before inserting the first meaning, we can add a bullet symbol. So how can we add a bullet symbol? So we have to write U and double quotes like this, and the code for the bullet symbol is U2022. Okay, so this is the code, and then we need to write plus here. Why this plus? This plus will simply concatenate this string and this item variable and then this string, two new line characters. Okay, let's run this now. So let me just firstly remove this elif thing, run, and rain search. You can see we are getting a bullet symbol, then the meaning, then two new line characters, then the another meaning, right? So after that, what we want to make our dictionary a bit intelligent. So for that, what we will do, we will use a module which is known as difflib. Okay, so what is this difflib? If I tell you, this difflib is nothing but a Python module that contains several easy to use functions and classes that allow users to compare sets of data, right? So what I mean, let me just import that from difflib, and this difflib is by default present inside this. It comes with this Python interpreter, so you do not need to install it externally. Okay, from difflib import, we need to import a method, a function which is known as get close matches. This is the function name, get close matches. What this get close matches function basically does, it helps us to get the closest matches. Okay, it simply returns a list of the best good enough matches. So what is the syntax of this get close matches? If I simply show you here, firstly let me explain you at this position. So this get close matches, it takes 4 arguments. Okay, a word, then possibilities, then after that n value, and then after that cutoff. So let me explain you how this function works. We will pass some word. Okay, let me take an example here. Get close matches. Let me pass some word here, apple. Okay, this is a word, and then we need to pass possibilities. Possibilities is basically a list of the words ape, comma, apple, comma, peach, comma, puppy, like this. Okay, so this is the possibility. Then n and cutoff, these are two optional parameters, and the n value by default is 3 and the cutoff value by default is 0.6. okay, like this. So I hope you understood. This is the basically a syntax of get close matches. Okay, and what this will return, this get close matches function will return, it will return the best good enough match. Okay, for this word apple. So for this apple word here, if you see, we have 3 good enough matches, ape, apple, sorry, 2 only, ape and apple. Okay, since n value is 3, so maximum output, the maximum return values you can get is 3. Okay, you can get 3 maximum similar words of this apple. Okay, so let me just store whatever this will return, get close matches function will return. Let me just store it in some variable close match, and let's print this close match so that you guys can understand. Okay, let's run this. So you can see that what it is printing here. This close match is simply storing these two values, apple and ape. Okay, so the closest match for this apple word is ape and this apple, right? If you would have passed app also, like for example, if I pass one more word here, okay, like app, so you would get 3 answers this time because n value is 3, so maximum you can get 3 similar words. So for this apple we have ape, apple and app. These are the 3 similar words, and peach and puppy are totally different. So if I run it again, you can see this time we are getting 3 result. If you write one more word here, ap only, ap, like this, if I run it again, you can see we are not getting this ap as an result here. The reason is because the n value is 3 only, so maximum we can get only 3 possible closest matches. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand that what this get close matches function is returning. It is simply returning the closest match of this word apple. Okay, now what is this cutoff? This cutoff value lies between 0.0 to 1.0. Okay, let me put it in comment. So this cutoff value lies between 0.0 to 1.0. It takes float values. So the value which is closer to 0, okay, the value which is closer to 0, it will simply return all the members of the list. Okay, all the members of this list, whether they are the closest match or not. Okay, and if the value is closest to 1, it will return the best match, the perfect match for this apple word. So if I decrease the value from 0.6 to 0.1 and change this n value to 5, okay, if you not change the n value to 5, then you will get at most 3 outputs only, and the best matches are ape, apple and app only, right? But if you change this value to 5, you will get maximum 5 results. Okay, let's run this. You can see we are getting 5 matches here, but if you see, this puppy is not very close match of this apple. Okay, so we need to make this cutoff value in between 0.0 to 1.0. If I make it to 0.9, then you can see that we will get nothing. We are getting an empty list. The reason is because there is no word which is perfectly matching with this apple word, right? So this cutoff value, keep it between 0.6, 0.5, that is fine. So by default is 0.6. I'll be using this 0.6 only. And n value, the maximum best matches that you can get by default is 3. So keep it like that. So 0.6 and 3, this is the default value. If you want to change, you can change, otherwise just ignore. So by default n will be 3 and cutoff value will be 0.6, right? So if I run it again, you will get only 3 results here. Okay, apple, app and ape. And the best one is at index 0. The best one is at index 0, the closest match, and then the second closest match is at index 1 and the third closest match is at index 2, like that. I hope you are able to understand this close match function. Okay, This will simply return the best good enough match. Okay, here this word is a sequence for which closed matches are desired. It's typically a string, and this possibilities is a list of sequences against which to match a word. It is also a typically a list of strings. Then n, this is optional argument. By default the value is 3, is the maximum number of close matches to return, and n must be greater than 0. Then we have this optional cutoff. The by default value is 0.6 and is a float in the range 0 to 1, 0.0 to 1.0. Okay, I hope you are able to understand this. So let me just remove from here, or let me just put it in a comment. Okay, I was just explaining you that how this get close matches function works, and let's use that here. So I'll be simply using elif to provide another condition. So if you will find that word inside this data, then this code will be executed and the meaning will be inserted in the text area. If you will write a wrong word, a wrong spelling, okay, so we will simply check for the closest matches inside this data.json file, right? So for that, what code we have to write? Let's see. Okay, so here we will simply check the length of this get close matches list. As I have already told you, this get close match will simply return a list of the closest matches words. Like here you can see that we were getting a list, right? So if the value of this list, if the length of this list is greater than 0, what it means? It means that we are getting some similar words. Okay, we are getting some similar word. But if the length is 0, okay, in that case it means that there is no similar word that exists inside this data.json file, right? So we will simply check for the length, okay, of this get close matches function. Here what we will pass, we will simply pass the word, this word, right, this word, and I will simply compare it. Okay, I will simply check if this word is, or a similar word is present inside this data.keys. Okay, what is this data.keys? Keys, as I told you, inside this data.json, all these are keys. Okay, all these words are basically the keys. Okay, so it will simply check for the closest match inside this data.keys. If the match will be there, then the length will be greater than 0, and if there is no match, then the length will be 0. Okay, so if there is some match, that means that we have written a wrong spelling of some word. Okay, in that case what we want to simply display a message box. Okay, so for displaying a message box we need to import a message box. So how do we import message box? We have to write from tkinter import message box. So message box is a module, and in this message box we have a method which is known as ask yes no. Okay, which helps you to display a message box on the screen. I'm going to use that. So message box dot ask yes no, and inside this ask yes no we need to pass our title. So the title is confirm, and after that we need to pass what message you want to see on the dialog box. You want to see did you mean, and what should be the word? The word has to be this close match. Okay, closest match that we will get from this get closest matches function. So what I'll do, I'll use here get close matches, and I will pass here word and then from we want this word to be compared with what we want, data dot keys. It should be compared with data dot keys, right? And I'm not passing n and cutoff value because n will return maximum 3 values, and the starting first index will show us the best result. Okay, the first starting index. So this get close matches will return us a list, and I'm going to store that in some variable close match like this. Okay, and I don't have to put a space in between underscore. Okay, and let me just print this close match. Okay, so that you guys can understand that what this close match is storing. Okay, let me just remove this line for now and run. So if I write rain with the wrong spelling and I click on this search button, okay, so you can see what it is getting printed. So this rain, which I have written a wrong spelling, RAINN, so that particular word is getting searched inside these keys, okay, all these keys, and maximum 3 values we are getting as an output. Okay, so these three are the closest match of that RAINN. Rain is the best closest match, then train is the second best, and the rainy is the third best. So we are only interested in this word, first one, right? So how can we access this first word? We just have to pass in a square bracket the index of this first word. So the index here is 0. Okay, so this word is 0. Now if I run it again, you can see what it will print. So if I write rain like this, search, you can see we are only getting the first best match, rain, inside this close match variable. I hope you guys are able to understand. Now after this, what I will do, I will simply rewrite that message box because I want to display a message box with ask yes no message box, and here I will give the title as confirm, and the message will be did you mean this word, did you mean close match. So how can we use this variable, how can we use this variable with a string? We have to concatenate with the plus operator, okay, and then we can use this close match variable. Okay, did you mean, and then after that if again we want to use some string, so we will have to use concatenate this symbol and then another string instead, like this, instead, and then the question mark like this. So what message you will see there, you will see a message like this, did you mean rain instead. Okay, because this close match is simply storing this word rain. Okay, did you mean rain instead, right? So let's see, let's run this code. If I write rain like this and click on this search button, you can see we are getting the title confirm and the message did you mean rain instead. So I have not provided spaces, so I will provide space, a little space between these three words, did you mean rain instead, right, like this. So what this ask yes no method does, if you will click the yes button, okay, this will return true, and if you'll click no button, this will return false. So I will simply store this true or false value inside some variable res. Okay, and let me just provide a little space, did you mean, and then here instead, like this. Okay, you can use f string also instead of using this plus operator. How that f string works, let me just show you. So before this single quote, you need to write f letter, and after that whatever string you want to write, like did you mean, and then the variable name has to be inside curly braces, so close match, and then after that instead another string, right? So variable name has to be inside curly braces, other thing can be written simply like this. Okay, so this way you can also use a string with a variable name, right? If I run this and write a wrong word here, wrong spelling, search, so you can see, did you mean rain instead, right? So I forgot to mention the question mark. So if you'll click on no, res variable will store false value. If you'll click on yes, res variable will store yes value. Okay, so let's print this res value so that you guys can understand what it is holding, and let me provide a question mark at the end like this. Okay, again, rain, search, did you mean rain instead? So if I'll click on yes button, we will get a true value, right? You can see here, right? But if you click on the no button, you'll get a false value, right? So what I want, if you will click on the yes button, what you mean? That you mean rain instead, right? If you click on the yes button, you mean rain instead. You want to show the meaning of rain here, right? So what we will do, we do not have to print this. I will check here a condition. If res is storing true as a value, okay, that means you mean that word instead, right? You mean rain instead, for instance. So in that case, we simply want to insert the meaning of rain. Okay, insert the meaning of whatever word that is inside this close match variable. So we will insert in the same way like I did here. Okay, so I will simply copy this code from here and I will simply paste here. So it's the same code, right? If res value will be true, we'll simply take the word from the meaning. Let me just define a meaning variable here, meaning variable, and how can we get the meaning? Data, and here we simply need to pass close match. Okay, so this is the key that we are passing inside this square bracket, and we will get the meaning, the value, and that value will be stored inside this meaning variable, and this will be simply a list. Like I already showed you here, it is a list, and if you want to fetch the values of this list, you need to use a loop. Okay, so this item variable will simply store the value. If you have three meanings, so first time it will store the first meaning. That first meaning will be inserted. So firstly the bullet symbol will be inserted in your text area, then the first meaning will be inserted, then the new line character. Again the loop will run, another meaning will be inserted, firstly the bullet symbol, then the meaning, and then the new line character. Again the loop will run, the third meaning will be inserted, firstly the bullet symbol, the third meaning, and then the new line character, like that. I hope you understood. Let me just run this. So if I write rain like this, wrong spelling, click on this search button, you can see, did you mean rain instead? If you'll click yes, you are getting the meaning of rain inside this text area. What else I want? When I click on yes, what I want this wrong spelling to change, and we should get the right spelling, rain, like this when I click on yes button, right? So for that, what we can do, we can simply delete the previous meaning. Okay, we can simply delete the previous meaning. Let's do that. So if you will select yes, what I want that wrong spelling which is written inside the entry field to change to correct spelling. For that, what we will do, we will simply delete the wrong spelling from the enter word entry field. Okay, delete. So we have a delete method inside this entry class. We can use that with the help of object name of the entry class, and you can mention from where to where you want to delete. So from 0 till end I want to delete everything. Okay, so this wrong spelling will get deleted, and then I will simply insert the right word there, and the right word is where inside this close match variable, right? So what I will do, I will again use enter word entry object dot insert method, and at the end I'll simply insert close match like this. Let's run and see. If I write rain, wrong spelling, click on search. If I press this yes button, you will see that this wrong spelling will be erased first, deleted first, and then the correct spelling will be inserted. So yes, you can see this is how it is happening. Okay, so we are getting this. Now the next important thing here is, so if I run this code again, here if I write doubt and click on the search button, we are getting the meaning of doubt here. If I rub this word and write another word, run, and click on the search button, so see, we are getting the meaning of run just after this doubt meaning. What I want, I want to delete this previous meaning and then I want to insert this new meaning, right? So let's see. So we are inserting the meaning here, right? If the word exists in the dictionary, then this code will be executed. So before inserting the meaning, what I will do, I will simply delete everything from the text area if there is previously anything present on that. Okay, so from where to where I want to delete from 1.0 till end. So this is the start index of this text area 1.0, right? Till end, I will delete everything if there is previously anything present on the text area, and then I will simply insert the meaning. Okay, let's run this code. So doubt, search, you can see we are getting the meaning of doubt. Now if I write run here and search, you can see that the previous meaning is getting deleted and the new meaning of run is getting inserted here. I hope you guys have understood. The same thing we also have to do when we will search for a similar word. Okay, in this elif condition also we have to do the same thing. Otherwise, if I run this code and if I write type rain, wrong spelling, so if I click, I will click on the search button, this code will be executed, right? This code will be executed. So rain, search, did you mean rain instead? If I say yes, so we are getting this meaning, right? So if I write another word like a wrong spelling of doubt, okay, then again this code will be executed, right? Click on this search button. Did you mean down instead? Yes. So you can see that we are getting again the meaning just after the previous meaning, right? So we also need to do changes here. Okay, we also need to do changes here. So what I will do, before inserting the meaning, here also I will simply delete from the text area if there is previously anything present on it. So text area dot delete from 1.0 till end, like that. If I run this code and if I type doubt, wrong spelling, so the elif code will be executed. Search, did you mean doubt instead? Yes, we are getting the first meaning. If I write another wrong word, wrong spelling, click on the search button, again the elif code will be executed. Did you mean rain instead? I click on yes button. So the previous meaning is getting deleted and now the new meaning is getting inserted. So it is working fine. Okay. Now there can be one more scenario, that what if the user types something nonsense like this? In that case, what should happen? Nothing is happening, right? Nothing is happening. So what I want, if user types anything nonsense, so what we will do, we will simply go to the else part, and in the else part I will simply display a message box dot show info. Okay, because I want to show the information this time, I will pass a title here, information, and then the message is the word doesn't exist, like this. If I run this code again, if I type something nonsense here, click on the search button, you can see that we are getting an information message box that the word doesn't exist. Okay. So when I click on OK button, I want nonsense word should be deleted from this entry field. So after this message box, I will simply delete from this enter word entry. Enter word entry dot delete from 0 till end. I will delete everything. Okay, let's run this again. So if I type anything nonsense, click on this search button. Did you mean okay? So this word is getting a match here, dockhand. So if I say yes, we are getting the meaning of this dockhand. But if I type anything nonsense here, suppose like this, search. Did you mean doesn't exist? The word doesn't exist. If I click on OK, that then that word is getting deleted. I also want one more thing, that if the word doesn't exist, if there is anything on the text area, that should also get deleted. So text area dot delete from 1.0 till end, like this. Okay, so if you have previously searched some word like doubt, like this, search, yes, so we are getting the meaning of a word. Now if the user types something irrelevant like this, search, the word doesn't exist. Okay, so when I click on this OK, firstly entry field will be deleted, and then from the text area will be deleted, right? These two lines will be executed. See here inside this data.json, all the words are in small letters, right? All the words here are in small letter. So if you'll type the spelling in capital letter, so then also we should get the meaning. Okay, so for that, what we can do, when we are getting a word from the entry field, we will simply convert that word to a lowercase. Okay, word dot lower. So lower is a method in the string class. So this will simply help you to convert the word that is written on the entry field into lowercase, and will simply update the word variable like that. And if I run this code again and type this time in rain in capital letters, search, you can see we are getting the meaning of rain, right? One more thing, what if you type wrong spelling of rain like this and click on the search button? It says, did you mean readiness instead? If you select no, then what it should display? This is not displaying anything. This meaning is here, this word is here, and this meaning is here. So when I click on this no, what I want a message box should appear that this word doesn't exist. Please double check it. Okay, and then everything should be deleted from these two entry field and the text areas, right? So what we will do here, so this res variable is storing either true or false. Okay, when you will click on yes button, this code will be executed, right? This particular code will be executed. What if you select no? In that case, you will simply go to the else part. Okay, and in the else part, what I will do, I will simply show a message box dot show error. Okay, I will this time show error, and the title here will be error, and the message on this error message box will be the word doesn't exist, double check it. Okay, the word doesn't exist, please double check it, like that. Okay, and after that, what else we want, if there is anything inside the entry field, that should get deleted. So I will write enter word entry dot delete from 0 till end everything. Okay, and same way, if there is anything present inside my text area, I will simply delete that too. So delete from 1.0 till end, right? Let's run this code. So if I type here rain, wrong spelling, search, did you mean rain instead? Okay, I mean rain instead. Let's type another word, doubt, search, did you mean doubt instead? This time I will select no. I did not mean doubt instead. So when I select no, we are getting a error message box. The word doesn't exist. Please double check it. If I click OK, you will see that both these fields are empty, right? So this is the functionality of this search button. Okay, I hope you understood this functionality. There's one more thing I would like to tell you, that what if you type some word like love and you hit enter. Okay, so what I want to simply bind the enter key also, that when you hit enter, you should get the meaning displayed inside this text area. So for that, what you want to bind your window, okay, with the keyboard stroke. So here just before this root.main loop, what I will do, I will simply bind my window with enter key, and enter key here is represented with the name return, and you have to mention that in these less than and greater than symbol return. So this is nothing but the enter key. Okay, so whenever you will press the enter key, what I want to call some function. Okay, so enter underscore function. So this is the function name that we need to define. Okay, so whenever you will press the enter key, this enter function will be executed. The code which is written inside the enter function, that code will be executed. So I will define the function here only, def enter function, like this, and whenever you will press the return key, means the enter key, this enter function will be called, and whatever code you will write here, that will be executed. So when I press the enter key, what I simply want to call this function, the search function. Okay, so what I will do, I will write search button dot invoke. So what this will do, this will simply invoke the search button, means whenever you will press the enter key, the search button will be clicked automatically. Okay, and once the search button is clicked automatically, this command will be called, the search command will be called, and whatever code is written inside the search function, this complete code will be executed. So if I run this now and I write love, click enter, we are getting some error here. Enter function takes 0 positional argument, but 1 was given. Okay, so since we are binding our keyboard stroke, okay, so we need to pass some parameter here. It can be any name, so I'll pass event like this. Let's run it again. Love search. You can see that we are getting the meaning of love here. Okay, like this. I hope you understood everything, how this search functionality is working. In the next video, we will see the functionality of this mic buttons, these two mic buttons, then this clear button, and then this exit button. If you think this video was useful, please like the video and share it, and don't forget to subscribe my channel for upcoming project tutorials. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.